Galaxy S7 Edge. This phone has been out for about a year now and it's looking pretty hot. It still looks as though it's one of the top of the line smartphones, and in my opinion, it is. Now, that may vary by what you're looking for in a phone and what kind of phone you want. So, this phone has a 5.5-inch Quad HD AMOLED curved display with 534 pixels per inch. That's just phenomenal. Not very many phones are boasting a screen like that. This is absolutely stunning, and it's something that you're not going to see on very many phones. It is so crisp and clear that you'd be hard pressed to ever see a pixel or anything. Like, it's every image is going to come out absolutely clear on this phone. Now, this also features Corning Gorilla Glass 4 front and back, so it's an all glass metal design, which is pretty crazy because it's a brittle material, right? You'd think that would hinder the durability of the phone, but in all actuality, it's a very durable phone. If you want to check out some drop test videos, check over to TechRax's channel, check over to Apple Everything Pro. They got everything. They drop test everything on those two channels, and you'll see how durable it actually is. It's pretty amazing. Now, as far as the waterproofing, this phone is not waterproof. It's IP68 dust and water resistant. And then what this means is it can go underwater 1.5 meters for 30 minutes and should still work fine. Now, this is a standardized test. It doesn't mean that every Samsung Galaxy S7 Edge or S7 will be able to withstand that. It all depends on how good the seals are in your phone and whether it was made on a Monday or Friday, pretty much. It depends on how much effort was put in when your phone was manufactured. Now, this phone in front of me is a G935F. So it's an international model. It has the Exynos 8890 octa-core processor. 4 cores running at 2.3 gigahertz. Those are Mongoose cores. And then you get 4 cores running at 1.6 gigahertz. And that's a Cortex A53 core. So, and this phone comes with the Mali T880 MP12 GPU. That's a wicked GPU. Works well. It'll run pretty much any video game you throw at it. So that's awesome. Now, this has a micro SD expansion slot, and it's coupled with your Nano SIM tray. So that seems to work pretty well. It's not the best setup, but where it's got the waterproofing, there's a little rubber band around the edge of this, and it shows, you can see how it's waterproofed. It is not internally waterproofed on the chipboard, and it's not actually waterproof. I mean, here we go again. I'm going to hear about this in the comments. It's water resistant. Okay. Now, this phone came in 3 different configurations: 32 gig, 64 gig, or 128 gig. This is a 32 gig model, and depending, it didn't matter which model you got, it came with 4 gigs of RAM, which is awesome. So this camera on the back here, that's a 12 megapixel 1.7 aperture Sony sensor. So Sony actually makes the camera, believe it or not. Big shock, right? They've been doing it for years. Collaborations between companies. It's not a big deal. Some of these phones did have a Samsung sensor, and some have the Sony sensor. It's not done internationally or anything like that. It's just random which phone has the Samsung or the Sony sensor. And in my opinion, the Sony sensor is the better sensor. So that's all a matter of opinion, though. They're the exact same sensor, just made in 2 different factories. Now, you got the phase detection autofocus, optical image stabilization, and a single tone LED flash. That's pretty awesome. The front, your selfie shooter, you got a 5 megapixel 1.7 aperture 83 degree semi-wide angle front shooter. So that's not bad. It does have autofocus on it, and it seems to work pretty well. Now we got a front mounted fingerprint sensor on this guy. It seems pretty quick, not too many issues with it. It always worked for me when I was using it, but I'm not one of those guys to keep my phone locked, so I'm not using it very often. Now this phone has a sensor for sensors, meaning it's got a sensor for everything. We're looking at an accelerometer, gyroscope, proximity sensor, compass, barometer, heart rate sensor, SpO2 monitor, gravity sensor. Like, it's the list of sensors is unreal. Do you really need that many sensors in your phone? I don't know. That's personal preference. It depends on what you're doing with your phone. In my opinion, all I really need is an accelerometer, a gyroscope, and a proximity sensor. But it depends on what you're doing, and it depends on who's using it. This phone has fast charging, quick charge 2.0. I can get up to 50% in about half an hour, which is pretty amazing considering how long the battery lasts. I've gotten up to 6.5 hours of screen on time with this phone, which is just impeccable. Most phones I've used can hardly get 4.5 to 5 hours, so this one, it's definitely a go as far as battery life. It comes with Qi and PMA wireless charging, and if you're somebody that doesn't like to fumble with cords, because this is micro USB, so it's omnidirectional, wireless charging is for you. Now it has a non-removable 3600 milliamp hour lithium ion battery. This is a huge battery. You're not going to go wrong with it. Now this came in a variety of color options, but at release there were only 3: black, gold, and silver. And then later on down the road last year, Samsung put out some special edition colors, namely the white, rose gold, black pearl, and coral blue. Now I don't agree with this marketing scheme. In my opinion, it's just a money grab for Samsung during the holidays. In reality, the way I think about it, they should release all the colors at once for the phone. That way when you go to buy your phone, you can get the color you want, and you're not going to have to change phones halfway through the year if you want a different colored phone. Like, let's be serious. Now, I got this phone running on the Nougat 7.0 update, and it seems to be working pretty well. I like how they switched it from TouchWiz to the Grace UX. It works amazing, and it looks amazing. That brought in the blue light filter, secure folder, and always on display. Now that's not something you're seeing on a lot of Samsung phones, only the high-end flagships. So if you like this video, please like and subscribe, and we'll catch you next time.